am Jaclyn Carlson. In the business, I'm a mother, mentor, and parent coach at jaclyncarlson.com. And I am part of the cohort number 130, and I graduated in August 2023. So before I became a parent coach, I was a very slashy hybrid. I was a digital marketer turned matrescence coach, turned business launch strategist, turned mother wondering what in the world to do. And I think when I found Jai, it was like all of those Mrs. pieces sort of kind of came together. And what I've been doing now is just taking all of that background, which this is a beautiful story about how your background can actually kind of come into the new business, and blending that into sort of a mentoring and parenting business is where it stands now. What really inspired me to become a parent coach, what was really happening in my life, is pretty much a 6-year journey. It's not an overnight sort of decision I made. It was, looking back now, I can see all of the breadcrumbs and the dots that connected. I just wasn't satisfied once I had my child. I had this complete sort of just identity shift, and I wasn't satisfied with my existing career path. It didn't feel aligned to my values anymore, and something just didn't sit straight. And I think for 6 years, I kind of zigged and I zagged, trying to find my way. When I began to do a lot of work with mothers and matrescence, that helped, but there was that missing piece now that my children at this point were around 2 and 4 years old, that I really was like focusing on the connection and really wanted to help others navigate these kind of murky waters that I didn't really have anywhere else to turn. And I immediately found Jai through a friend, and it was such a pull, like a soul, I call it like a soul pull. Like I just knew that that was the path that I had to go. And that was the information that I wanted to be able to learn, absorb, and then pass on to others, because it was the conversation that no one else was having. So after graduation, I think the biggest challenge for me was, okay, how do I go ahead and start to tell people about this? And how do I suddenly step into this new role? So for me, that threshold was so much more about the mindset, more about the marketing. So I knew that I had the marketing background, but I think the first step for me, and the most important step, was just almost starting to have those conversations on a daily basis and embodying that feeling of like, yes, I can do this. And for me, that meant throwing out that perception of like the guru. Like I sort of approached this guide versus guru mentality. And I think once I was able to throw that out, it was able to have the conversation of, oh, what are you doing now? And I would always downplay it. And for me, it was that process of stepping into the power to say, I'm there to help guide women and to hold space for them and to help navigate them on their parenting journey from the perspective of someone who is a few steps ahead. And I love that teaching throughout the entire Jai process. It's that all of these beautiful expertise is out there, and we are just drawing their attention and their awareness to what's happening and holding their hand along the way. And so for me, it was those small conversations is what really kind of started that snowball effect. Is someone in the grocery store, someone at school pickup, like, what are you doing now? And having the courage to just vocalize it one person at a time and just build that threshold for me to say, yes, I actually am a parent coach and I can do this. I was really nervous when working through with my first few clients. I think there was the fear bubbles up of, can I do this? What's it going to be like? Are they going to throw curveballs? And what I found was it was such a beautiful connection was made, and we simply had conversations. And there was, tears, and we laughed, and there were aha moments, and there was stillness. And each and every conversation was different when I started working with those women one-on-one. But I remember hanging up the phone on each one of them and ending our call and just thinking, wow, I never predicted that it was going to be that powerful. And it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, to see their faces and their shoulders drop, and then just to have that space held for them that they've never had before. I think the training as a whole, what it prepared me to do is, one, have that. So I had the knowledge base, I had the tools, I had the strategies, I had the evidence behind it, which I think gave me that confidence around what we were teaching is scientifically backed. And I felt 100% secure in that. I think what surprised me was the beautiful training that followed in terms of the business coaching and really making sure that as coaches, we knew how to coach ourselves, we knew how to coach our clients, and then further support that with knowing going into it that it was very much anytime you step into something new, there is going to be those mindset and marketing challenges. So I think having those 3 phases helped follow through that journey so that by the end of it, I knew the material, but then I also knew the steps I was needed to take to then go ahead and build the business successfully. I find the women that I work with are surprised that parent coaching exists. I do feel like it's this new industry that you are hearing more about, but I think women don't know. I mean, I work mainly with mothers. They don't know the support exists in that professional capacity. So for me, it was around that education factor and weaving it into conversations to say that, it doesn't have to be something that feels scary. It can be as simple as a coffee and a walk or a chat, or, there is help out there that's specifically for mothers and designed simply just to give them the tools and the strategies to start to discover themselves. And the amount of times people said, I didn't even know that exists. I wish that existed when I was, younger. It's really educating women as they, before they even enter parenthood, that this type of support is there for them. The vision for my business is to connect and reach women. And I think the passion where I am sitting right now is that intersection of connecting women with their bodies and weaving that into how that reflects back into their parenthood. So I've been able to weave together my past experiences, the teachings from Jai, and different sort of passions of mine and blend them all together into this beautiful, imperfect parenting business for me to help women connect back home with themselves. If I could give anyone an advice who was sitting sort of in my shoes where I was a year ago, I think it would be to follow that soul pull that I mentioned before, that if you know that you want to be able to make ripples and to make change, I think it's to embrace and dive into the fear and embrace that wholeheartedly, because what's at the end of that, you are going to feel held and you're going to feel empowered and you're going to be educated to teach and to guide. And you will be able to step into that power, and the ripple of change that you're going to make is going to be absolutely incredible. To see that result first hand, whether it be in person or even via Zoom, is probably the most rewarding that I've ever felt. I have, worked in corporate environments most of my life, and I've never felt that, just that human connection, and that I'm moved to tears most calls, because you can see the change that you are helping and that you can see the difference that you're making each and every day. And I've never felt that in any corporate career. So for me, this is the most fulfilling role that I've ever been able to hold.